Welcome. Today is lesson 45. Incorrect. Today is lesson 46. Page 112 to 115. We are talking about the G major scale. If you think back a few lessons ago, we talked about the C major scale and the tetrachords. From C, whole, half, then up a whole step, and you make a second tetrachord. Whole, half. Starts and ends on C. Now we're going to do that same thing for G. G, you go up a whole step, half step. Then you go up a whole step and start your second tetrachord. So from D, you go up a whole step, but it's a half step to F. It's a whole step from E to F sharp. And then a half step. So that is your G major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Remember when we worked on tucking your thumbs? It's the same thing with G. Thumb. Thumb, or middle finger over. Remember, you aren't doing this, you aren't doing this. You're keeping everything nice and even. Now, look at the very beginning of the exercises, the bottom of page 112. It says the key of G major. The key signature of 1 sharp means to play all Fs as F sharps through the whole piece. That's why in between the clef sign and the time signature, there is this sharp in the music. That's called your key signature. There's key signatures with 1 sharp, 2 sharps, 3 sharps, 4 sharps, 5 sharps, and 6 sharps. And 7 sharps actually. But they're all going to be given here in the beginning between the time signature and the clef. So that's where you want to look every piece you play for any sharps or flats, because that means those notes are sharped or flatted for the whole piece. So work on your G major scale to where you can play it fluidly and you get the finger tuck from the B to the C very smoothly. You just want to do it over and over and over until it's just second nature, and you can like almost make a grocery list as you're doing this or something, right? Notice I'm not playing super loud. My hands aren't stressed. You don't see this. There's a lot of tension in my hand. It's relaxed. It says on the bottom of 112, after you've learned the G major scale with hands separate, you may play them together. When the scale is played as written above, the left hand descends as the right hand ascends, and as the left hand ascends, the right hand descends. This is called contrary motion. But both hands play the same finger numbers at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. So work on that. Alright, top of page 113, take a look at the can. Now it says changing fingers on the same note. Sometimes it's necessary to replay the same note with a different finger. Practice the following line, prepare for the can-can. You have 5 on D, 4 on D, 1 on A, 2 on A. So that's all it is. But another thing to take away is when you look at the can-can, that's this song. That's what this one is. But your left hand has to be really steady. And your left hand is like the driving force of this pulse. So make sure that you practice this enough slowly that you're able to keep that left hand rock steady. If you've got a metronome, I've got mine here. We're going to just start. It says brightly, that's fast, but we're going to start slow. One of my legs is a little uneven, so we're going to switch that out for the digital one. Bum, 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 bum. So you want to practice your left hand. And notice I'm not holding my pinky down. My pinky is releasing. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Crescendo. Once you can play it comfortably at that speed, speed it up. One, two, three, four. And keep going. So you want to just keep working that out until you can do it smoothly and efficiently at that tempo. 114, writing in the key of G major. Well, we talked about this earlier. You have tetrachord, so it's from G, whole step, half step. Then you go up a whole step and make another tetrachord. So from D, you go whole step to F sharp, half step to G. So if you notice, the scale has one sharp, F sharp. That's why our key signature has one sharp, F sharp. So on page 114, you're going to write the tetrachord in the left hand and the right hand. And then you're going to play it using the left hand for the first tetrachord, the right hand for the second. Then on the bottom, you write it in treble clef. And then bass clef. And then it says to play them descending, play them backwards. But if it's easier for you, just look at the exercise on 112, just like we talked about with the C major scale the other day. That's page 114. Now let's look at the primary chords in G. on 115. We remember that that's what they were. But G is the 1. Now, when we were in C, our 5-7 chord was a G7. We played like this. But now we're in the key of G, and G is the 1 chord. And 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 chord is C. And the 5 chord is D major with an F sharp. But it's a 7 chord, so remember we add another third on top. So remember, thirds skip a note. So our third on top goes all the way to C. D, F sharp, A, C. But just like with the key of C, when we went to the G7 chord, you omit the 5th. And you put the C on the bottom. So now you have F sharp, D, and C. Then you put the F sharp on the bottom. And if you look, this is really familiar because you've already done it. It's just now you know the theory behind it. 1, 4, 1, 5, 7. So take a look at the exercise in the middle of page 115. That's what we just played, but practice it, play it over. On the bottom of 115 is the Marines hymn. Remember, DC el fine, de capo el fine. Go back to the beginning and play tel fine. So you play line 1. There's a repeat sign. So you play line 1 a second time. Then you go on to line 2. At the end of line 2, it's not a double bar line, which is thin and thick, like we know as the ending. It's thin and thin. So, excuse me. That means go back, DC el fine, go back to the beginning, and play tel fine. Starts forte. That's the only dynamic marking in the piece. Left hand has some staccato notes here. Be very careful about this rhythm. The dotted quarter note, 8th note, and then 2 8th notes at the end. So that, counting that, it's 1 and 2 for that dotted quarter note, and for that 8th note on the and of beat 2. Then 3 and for the quarter note, the D. And then 4 for the first 8th note and for the second 8th note. But now in measure 3, that rhythm is reversed. Instead of having a dotted quarter note followed by an 8th note, you have an 8th note followed by a dotted quarter note. So that is 1 and for the first quarter note. 2 and for the second quarter note, 3 for the 8th note, and that dotted quarter starts on the and of 3 and holds for 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That's a tricky point. So pause it, practice it, but it starts with an incomplete measure. It starts 4 and. So you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. It's a pickup to the D with finger 5. And notice the finger numbers are all switching. Alright, so pause it, practice it. Alright, and I will play it. 1, 2, 3. nice moderate march tempo. That felt to me around 120, but since I have the metronome out, here's 120. That's a little bit slower than what I played. That would have been 1, 2, 3. That's 120. So that's it for this lesson. If you have any questions, let me know. Let's take a look at the pages here. We have 112, 113, 114, and 115. Marine's hymn on the bottom. Thank you.